Fucking goofy. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Thinking Out Loud. This is number 24. I think on number 8, we also said rest in peace, but rest in peace to Kobe, the late, great Kobe Bryant.
Oh, is it his anniversary recently?
He had two numbers. He had number 8 and number 24.
Let's start again because I got up and walked back.
No, that's fine.
No, that's not fine. I walked up and got back. Okay, whatever. I don't care.
You don't give a shit.
I don't give a care.
Come on, man.
I don't give a flying rat's tail.
Yeah, that intro was too good. I can't,
Go back
I can't
on
do that over.
People know that when I get up, I'm just checking to see if we're recording.
People that watch the show also know that I don't pronunciate my words great enough, well enough. Let's go well enough. I don't pronunciate my words well enough, and right there, that intro was a dime and a dozen, and that was first take.
I feel like I can barely speak English sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like that all the time.
I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, I kind of want to go back to school and learn Spanish.
Spanish
courses.
I thought you were going to say I want to go back to school, or I want to go back to Mexico.
That too. I kind of want to go to Guadalajara University and take a fucking course there on Spanish because I was talking to an old coworker of mine. I was like, hey, I kind of want to learn how to flirt in Spanish because I can barely flirt in English.
Yeah.
If I can barely flirt in English, how do I expect me to get a wife, in Spanish?
Well, the nice thing about Spanish is that anything that you say sounds really, really good.
No.
Yes, it does.
No.
When you're talking to a woman and you're like, te amo mucho, mi amor.
Te amo mucho, mi amor.
You know what I'm saying?
Te quiero tanto.
She gets, a little creamy.
Te quiero tanto. Te quiero tanto.
What the fuck does that mean?
I want you very much.
There you go.
I want you very
much. How do I
much.
say te quiero tanto?
Te quiero tanto.
Te quiero tanto.
You know what it is? That I was trying to learn how to speak Japanese not so long ago.
Yeah. Why? Hold on. Why?
Why not? I'm a bilingual, bicultural man.
You got the Asian persuasion, huh?
I'm telling you, bro, since I was a child, when I started learning how to speak Korean, I don't know, like my fucking something in my genetics, awoke. I had a mutation where I love Asian women.
Well, you look like a samurai with the top knot and the shit.
You know what's funny? I don't think...
I mean, they didn't have facial hair, but...
They did.
Yeah? Samurais had facial hair? You sure?
Like Ronins.
Yeah, but that was cleaned up. Theirs was really cleaned up.
Yeah, that's because they were all show and no bite. It was the Ronins and stuff who fought to the death. I'm not about to commit seppuku, though. You know what I mean?
Ah, come on, dude.
But no, what was I saying? Yeah, dude, I love me a good Asian film.
Yeah.
Show. I saw Squirt Game. Squirt Game.
Mommy. Yeah. Squid Game. Correct.
Spoiler alert. By the way, we're gonna talk about the show. So if you don't want to hear about it, skip. I don't know how long
we'll put a timestamp in.
Put anything in
I'll put a timestamp in because this guy's a fucking cuck.
No, oh yeah, he'll comment it. He'll be like, "This is when we stop."
Exactly. You guys can follow my
Twitter
account. It is my Twitter as well. But no, I was going to say my YouTube account.
Yeah.
But my YouTube account just is my name.
Your YouTube account is your name? I have a YouTube also like that.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to use it yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Squid Game was...
We'll put a timestamp in for the spoiler.
Squid Game was kind of fucking awesome.
Kind of fucking awesome?
It was kind of fucking awesome because...
I thought it was great.
It was... Yeah, if I binge something the same day I hear about it, then yeah, it's fucking great. This is how I know it was really good because my buddy James, who I will call by name, he fucking doesn't watch anime.
Right.
But little does he know is that Squid Game is the best live action anime
of
all time.
It beats Death Note?
It beats... Oh yeah, by a mile.
I've never actually seen the Death Note one.
Oh no! Sorry, don't even mention the Death Note live action. I haven't seen it either, but yeah, it's I heard it's hot garbage.
Yeah, I heard it's ass.
I'd rather just not. William Dafoe is in it.
Okay.
He plays the Shinji, the Shinigami.
The Shinigami.
The fucking demon or whatever. I just haven't seen it, but basically, Squid Game was sick. I loved it. I loved the whole
the concept.
Yeah, it had many themes of equality and
humanity.
Mm-hmm. If anybody of you watched it, I gotta say, like, that shit was fucking, like, it was pretty emotional.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a very emotional, like, it's an emotional wreckage.
What'd you
like,
think?
honestly.
What'd you think of it, and how'd you hear about it?
So I thought it was an amazing show. Actually, I also binged it in an entire day. I'm kind of disgusted to say that because that's
not
about
disgusting.
9 hours of your day.
Well, that's a day. Not of your day. That is.
That is a day. Yeah, exactly. But it's worth it in every aspect. I think the ending. I think they did an amazing job. I'm not going to say what
talk
it.
about, like, talk about your favorite parts.
My favorite parts were, in my opinion, I think the conversations that were had between the contestants.
Oh, when they were
Like-
interacting with each other?
Yeah, exactly. Not just when they spoke about why they're there, but
Yeah.
also when you can see the camaraderie coming together, and then it just kind of takes a turn at the same time.
A turn?
Yeah.
I mean, we got to remind...
Well, an emotional turn because, at the end of the day, the game is that you have to have one winner. So when you have teams that are everybody's teaming up, at the end of the day, you still need one winner.
Yeah, basically, like, and just real quick, if you haven't seen the show, basically it's 456 people sign up for a game to win a prize money of 45.6 billion won, which equates to about, like, I forgot, I googled it, but it was like $500,000. It's life-changing money.
Yeah, definitely.
And all the people who were recruited basically were people who were down on their luck, made too many bad decisions in a row, or were on the verge of, like, killing themselves.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, because they had nothing left. So it's really interesting because everybody who was recruited had some kind of it was one of those three plus extreme debt. Like,
Almost everyone of them.
Almost everyone was in some sort of extreme.
But that's also that's a spoiler alert as well.
Well, it's a bit of a spoiler, yeah, because that's... Oh, actually, yeah, because that's
Yeah,
how
it
they
is.
choose. Yeah, that's how they choose them. We're
But
not going to go through the whole story, but
Yeah.
for me, like, some of my favorite parts were when the killing started.
You're sadistical fuck.
No, I mean, like...
You read the Gulag Archipelago and you're just like, I love killing, bro. I'm all for
I
it.
haven't read it yet. I've read some of it, but not all of it. But I like the parts where, like, shit got real. And what really makes you believe, is the actors. And I got to give it up to the main actor.
Gi-hoon.
Gyun.
Yeah.
Gyun. And the villain, his childhood nemesis is
Song-woo.
Song-woo, yeah.
Or
Dude,
Sung-hwa. Some shit like
what
that.
he did to Ali, dog. What he did to Ali, dog.
That was brilliant.
Look, you see, like, that's right there. Exactly what I talk about in the whole line between good and evil. The whole, like, every a line runs down every man's heart, right? That divides between good and evil.
But that was brilliant. Like, truthfully,
It was.
that was brilliant.
That was
I don't think
the most
anybody saw that coming. I mean, obviously you saw one of them dying, but the way that he outsmarted him was like, it was so manipulative, but it was so genius at the same time. And it really just went to show you that, the main villain essentially.
It goes to show you how far someone will go when they're desperate, when their life is on the line. Like, if you guys know, if you haven't seen it, please go, like, check it out. You'll binge it. You'll finish. And if you can't watch it, then it's just not for you. Because it's on track to be the most watched show on Netflix.
Is it really?
Worldwide, across all languages.
Wow.
Because did you ever watch Dark?
I love Dark.
German.
Yeah.
That was one. And then there was the Money Heist. I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen Money Heist. I watched another movie with the guy from The Good Doctor, and it's literally the same exact concept. You're breaking into the Bank of Spain, which has the amazing.
The art? No.
No,
I
not
don't know.
the art. The bank, like the actual bank,
Yeah.
has I think it's like a 13-chamber
I don't
lock
know.
or something like that. It's a real thing. It's
Sounds
pretty
like-
nuts.
Sounds like I'm tired of vault heist movies.
Yeah.
Kinda. I think they recently had another one come out with Zack Snyder, the zombie movie, Army, Zombies, and Guns or some shit. What's it called?
Oh yeah. I saw that one.
Kind of funny that I don't remember the name
I
because
saw
I
it
actually
in-
enjoyed the movie.
No, I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it with my brother. We
It was on
watched
Netflix.
it. Yeah, we watched it.
It was like
I don't
Tigers,
remember the
Guns, and
name of it.
Zombies or something.
It wasn't bad, but I think they left a lot out of that movie. But let's get back to Squid Game real quick. So
So good.
to me, what did you think about the episode 7 when they bring in the VIPs.
Okay, so I really enjoyed this. I'm glad I'm not a fucking 14-year-old going down a rabbit hole anymore. Because right, there's these scenes where where these VIPs come in who are some of the wealthiest people on earth.
Yeah.
And they happen to be all men who, generally speaking, like are bored. It's just kind of like, we're just going to talk about it.
Right.
Watch it. Because if you haven't watched it, you should have binged it by now.
You know what it made? It reminded me of, and I mean, I don't know anything about what went down on Epstein Island, but that shit reminded me so much of what I believe is like the elites do, essentially.
One of my favorite comedians, and I agree with him, it's like, you ever seen the movie Hostel?
Mm-hmm.
Those movies, the Hostel movies, those are real.
Yeah.
So they're not even scary, because it would be scary if it was like I can imagine rich people paying to see someone get their fucking fingernails pulled out, and it happens, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure it happens.
I think like the biggest thing.
It's a category, isn't it? What's it called? Spunk? No.
Oh, it's called snuff.
Snuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
Snuff. Yeah, that's fucked up, dude.
Look, basically, like in the show, like the richest people have nothing better to do with their money, and what does a poor person with nothing have to do? Same. Like whether they had all the money in the world or they didn't, you'll still get bored, right? That was the idea. Like you'll get bored no matter what. And in between, they had these messages of like the game. Everybody is equal.
Yeah.
Right. So there's nobody has an advantage over another person because it's all random. Everyone is supposed to start on equal footing.
Mm-hmm.
The idea there is equality versus equity. I mean, equality versus equity. Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So here, to just break it down real quick, the idea that we should all start on the same racing line, right? But that's not the case. Some of us have a head start in life, right? So the people who are like, oh, equity. Okay, well, I'm like fucking generalizing here, people, all right? Don't fucking scream. People who are for equity want to say that, okay, well, instead, we should all start on the same racing lane, regardless if you have a head start or not.
Yeah.
So if you have a head start, they're gonna push you back to the race, where the person all the way in the back is, because everybody needs to start on the same line. And the idea behind equity, equality, is that if all of us wanna get
this
to the finish
weird
line,
itch right now. It's not like crabs or anything, but I got a weird itch.
If
but yeah,
you wanted
go
to
on.
get to the finish line and the game of equality, we'd all be creating, I don't want to call them handicaps, but maybe that's like an easier way to look at it. It's for people who need help catching up to those who have a head start. So in the game,
that's interesting. That's what you got from it, because I got something completely different.
Well, that was one of the core messages, right? When they broke the rules, right? The rules were like, the game can end at any time as long as the majority agrees.
Yeah.
This is my phone. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
The majority agrees they can end the game. Another important part of the game was that everybody's life was worth 1 million won.
Oh, actually, I didn't catch that.
1 billion. Sorry, it was 1 billion won. That's how much their life was worth.
Yeah.
1 billion.
It's mad truth.
We could Google it real quick to see how much it is on won. But whatever that is, whatever that equates to in US dollars. Another big issue, have you seen Parasite and Joker?
I have not seen Joker, but I have
You've
seen
not seen
Parasite.
Joker?
Yeah.
Dude, that's $1 billion movie.
It didn't intrigue me.
You're scared. You're scared.
You think I'm afraid of fucking clowns?
No, you're scared, bro, because
that's what it is?
That's just a good movie, dog. People are scared of good stuff.
I think that, I don't know, when I think of Joker, I think of like a lunatic that, like wants to create havoc. But the spin that, I don't know, I've never seen it, so, give me some leniency. But with casting Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, I don't think that's a bad move.
He's the best actor of all time.
I don't think it's a bad move, but I just think that the way that they, from what I've seen of the trailer, it just seems too emotional for me, and I'm just, I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me with Joker, because to me, Joker's just supposed to be like this fucking like lunatic that's just like, yo, I'm going to take over this whole city and Batman, come find me. That's how I think of Joker. I don't think of it like he had a breaking point. I think he was just, that was his way to do it. That's what he wanted to do.
You gotta
like,
watch it.
Like, okay, in One Piece, you know, like Don Quixote just wants like destruction, basically.
I can't talk about that with you, honestly, because I know too much.
Okay.
So don't bring that up.
So,
bring
at this current moment, that's how I see
Squid Game.
Joker should have been.
What did you think? What else did you pick up in the show that you thought was interesting? Like the rules, the way people were supposed to act. What's like the biggest theme you saw there? If you remember, if you think critically regarding.
I'll say this. I think the thing that really pissed me off that they didn't explain was the rankings. Like, why is the square, you know, because the square, the triangle, the circle, yeah, sure. It all creates the logo of Squid Game. Mm-hmm. But they never explain why they chose to do it that way. It's
a children's game. They're immature.
No, I understand that, but I'm referring to the ranks of the, like, the lieutenants and
the minions.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they were. They were minions. Yeah, it was just.
Yeah, they were minions, but why is one shape bigger, or
why were they?
Why does it have a higher rank than the other?
It was just. Well, you're asking why the circle, square, and triangle were a hierarchy, right? The triangle at the top, circle, and then it was square, and then circles were the most level minions. Mm-hmm. You know what? I didn't really look. It
never got explained. Is my point.
It did. It was more of.
It did not.
It did.
When?
Well, you figured it out already. You said, I didn't know what they meant, but the shapes mean just that. The rankings and who gets to speak to who. We know that circles could not speak without their superiors allowing them to speak. I think that's funny. And then the squares follow the same rules as the triangles, and the triangles follow the same. And then the rule was if they ever see your face, you're immediately executed.
Right, but I'm saying that why do all three of those, the circle, the square, the triangle?
Okay, well,
why does it all create the logo of the Squid Game? And when you think of the Squid Game and how the Squid Game actually works, right? Mm-hmm. The final scene. Yeah. Spoiler alert. But do you remember how they start out at?
They explain it in the first scene too, as well. He explains how the game works.
Yes, but why does that create the hierarchy? Is my question.
Because look here,
that just might not be answered, and that's okay.
No, they did answer it. It's just one of those things, because I went back and saw other things that I totally missed.
Yeah.
And no, they did explain it. The triangle is the head of the squid.
Okay.
The square is the body, and the circles are the tentacles. Right.
Right.
That's why the hierarchy works like that. And this trope, like you said, they use it it's the very first scene, and it's the last scene.
Yeah.
And those symbols also are used to make the characters.
It was very Tarantino-esque in a sense.
You mean in terms of blood? Well, his biggest influence
is it Tarantino I'm thinking about? Who's the one that puts the ending first and then gets you all the way back?
I don't.
There's a famous director that does. I thought it was Tarantino.
I don't know if
Maybe
he does
not.
that often. No. Oh, I know what you're saying. Where he'll show like the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I might be Tarantino. Sometimes he does that, I think.
I mean, you're the cinephile? Yeah, you're the cinephile.
I'm sure there's more movies that do that, because he was inspired by other movies that do that already. So
right.
But yeah, basically, yeah, the Squid Game theme, right, is everywhere because that's what it is, and it's. And
okay, the way that you explain it makes me understand it more for sure, because I mean I'm thinking of it completely different from you are, but I can understand we're finding a common ground on it. So you've answered my question.
What did you think it was? Because I don't think there was anything else to it. I think it was just to represent how it runs. You mentioned like the VIPs,
right?
The idea is that they're bored with their money and they rather. Oh well, they said it. They're like, you bet on horses.
Yeah, we bet on
humans.
people.
Yeah, we bet on people.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we're not horses, and he gets mad, and it's like, well, you know, like that right there is like, how do you'll easily step on an ant, easily kill a spider or a cockroach, but a dog, a cat, you won't just kill them.
Yeah, I killed an egg this morning.
You killed an egg. You aborted a chicken.
I aborted a chicken.
You aborted a chicken, but that's not.
It was fucked up.
You're aborting every time. Yeah. The idea is like, can humanity be kinder to each other? Right? Can we treat each other with some humanity?
Right.
Because they're clearly just treating us like horses, not like humans. And the humanity part comes with understanding that.
That's interesting. You're seeing it from a very universal point of view, like nature and everything. I didn't think of it like that, but
the biggest theme of the show,
it makes sense,
is the major wealth gap.
Yeah.
It's so big in places like Korea. If you saw Parasite, that was the biggest theme of it. The idea that like some of the poorest people are so far from the wealthiest that they live completely different lives. It is a completely different thing. This idea of like owning a home, not being a renter, like you want your own land, you want your own place.
Yeah.
It's all like, it's all connected, man. And that's a reason why Squid Game is on track to be the most popular watch show on Netflix, is because
it's relatable.
Yeah, and Gi-hun is our everyday man. You see how he treats his mother. He wasn't there for the birth of his daughter. He wasn't there for the death of his mother. Fucking tragic. What does that mean? What does that say about us if we're him? Right? It means that you're not all good and you're not all evil. You're capable of committing good just as you are capable of committing evil. The show clearly demonstrates that all the time. For example, the couple with the wife.
Dude.
The married couple.
Bro.
When they announced
so
the marble
savage.
games, everyone had to team up with the person that, with someone, a pair. They ended up playing a game, marbles, and they had to play against their partner. Whoever lost got executed.
That whole scene was just an emotional wreck. Like, you see Gi-hun trying to talk with number one, and he's like, I mean, he doesn't have dementia, but he has a brain tumor,
which is causing it.
And
this is before we know the
twist,
the twist
essentially.
At the end,
Although I will say this, when they brought in the VIPs and I saw the back of the head, I knew instantly.
You know what?
I knew instantly.
I didn't even think about it. I was like, I hope it's not what I think. I kept thinking that number 1 and 456 were somehow tied in this fate, because I also kept thinking it was his father.
Yes, or like a time paradox.
Yes,
like
a time paradox.
The future,
like you're looking at your older self, dog.
Exactly.
God, and
it's hilarious.
Gi-hun is so naive in a good way.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand sometimes when he's like Su Wong said, like, dude, sometimes you get in trouble and you didn't even know you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And low key, like, that shit hit hard, because I'm like, fuck, bro, like, you're like not being, maybe he wasn't being understanding. He wasn't trying to see Su Wong and his fucking head ass for being such a fake head ass, saying that he went to college, he had all this thing. He was a fraud. He like lost all these people's money.
No, I mean, essentially he did finish those things, but he had a bad hand, you know what I mean? Like
no.
He created a bad hand, but he did finish college.
Regardless, like he whatever.
He fucked up for sure.
He was not a good person. Right, because he was.
I mean, essentially, because he was doing forgery and embezzlement and losing people's money. Again,
he commits suicide.
Yeah.
So it's like he's a fucking coward. Like,
I think his guilty conscience ate him up.
Exactly, because he put his mother's business on the line.
Yeah,
bro, he put everything on the line. He was desperate. Again, what he did to Ali, bro. Woo! And they didn't even follow up with the family or nothing. Like, the dude, this is another thing too, how good it was. Because, like, she is like, can you take care of my brother? I'm talking about the third and final contestant. The dude, she's like, can you promise me? He never promised.
He never said shit.
He's not even looking at her.
Yeah.
He's ready to fucking kill Su Wong after what he had done in the last game. Woo, bro, that shit was sick.
It was great.
So good, bro. I felt so bad I stand for her. I stand for her. What's her name? I forgot her name.
I don't know.
Bo Young.
Everybody loves her. I think she's pretty. I don't
It's not
think
about her being pretty. She was cute, but like I really liked her character.
Yeah, her character was good
Really
for
liked
sure.
the character.
It was. I think the whole show just has amazing character development, and if you're into that, it's a show that's worth watching.
It's almost a perfect show. Because like the ending,
I don't think
they
I
left
could
it
argue that.
open-ended for
Yeah.
endings because there's going to be a season 2.
There will be a season 2.
So
There
I would
has
have
to be.
given I would have given this a perfect 10 out of 10 if it was a one-off. If they had closed it off, maybe. Maybe I'm being like too critical because I fucking enjoyed it. I binged it. I fucking loved it. It was great. I want to give it a 10 out of 10. But I feel like if I gave it a 10 out of 10, I'd be like lying to myself about like, fuck it. I'm gonna say 10 out of 10. What do you want? It's good. It's on my.
I think it was good. I don't think I've ever given anything a 10 out of 10.
That's
though.
what I'm saying. Like,
You know, like, shit. That's got to be. What did they say? The 3 most important days: your wedding day, your children's birth, and then what's the third one?
The children's birth? What do you mean?
Yeah, your children's birth. The 3 most important days in your life.
There's no
your
such
wedding day,
fucking thing.
your children's birth, and there's another
Some
one.
fucking marketing company came up with that bullshit, right? Some dude in a room was like, "Oh, I gotta come up with the 3 most important days of like your life. It'll be the day you fuck, the day you lose your virginity.
There you
the
go.
day
We'll add that as
the
a
day
third.
you kiss
Fuck
a
it.
girl,
That works.
and the day you like, I don't know, get your first car. I don't know. There's nothing. None of that makes sense. Every day should be important to you. Take care of yourself as if you were taking care of someone you love, someone elderly.
Right. So
look,
that to me,
what do you want to give
I
it?
think.
Because we can move on
I
from
think.
Squid.
Yeah. We're gonna move on. But my final thought is, I think the ending was fantastic, amazing, right? But what kind of annoyed me was the entire time, or at the beginning, not even. Actually, yeah. At the beginning, it was really only at the beginning because he chose to go home from the game. Like he was the first one, remember? And he said, I don't want to play anymore.
Oh, you
He
mean in the
pressed
first
X.
episode?
Yeah. No. After that. For the next game. He pressed the X because he wanted to go home when they took the vast majority vote.
Yeah.
So, but at the beginning, right, like he was willing to risk it all. And when he got his daughter that little toy gun and it was a lighter, like that was just so shitty. I was like, I mean, it's the thought that counts, but what the hell is she going to do with the lighter? And you can see like the acting in that show is phenomenal.
Yeah, they do
It
a
really
fucking
is.
great job. Shout out to those Korean actors.
But what pissed me off is after all of that, he didn't even want to spend the money. Because you played the whole game for the money.
Well, remember he gambled all of his daughter's money in the beginning of the episode and horse racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's to show you that like
Greed?
it's not greed. It's that he had a history already. He had his own. We used to work as a machinist at a car manufacturer.
Yep.
He got laid off.
Yep.
The reason he didn't get to see his daughter's birth was because the same day they were on strike.
Right.
He saw his best friend murdered in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And like the big allegory is that like the divide between the wealthy and the rich is becoming greater. Like I think like that's been the biggest theme. I think in the sentiment in these movies, it's like you see Joker, Parasite. The biggest issue is that some of the wealthiest people don't have to worry about some of the most basic things for things that like we think to ourselves like, oh, you know, it's maybe not that expensive to do. But to someone else, it's like, well, I have to save these $10 because it's the only $10 I have left.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's fucked up because, like, on this show, we talk a lot about politics. We keep it real. Like, I try to keep it real. Like, if I sound off or I say something wrong, like, call me out. But,
right.
You know, we've talked about this worker strikes, Nabisco, Frito-Lay, the mechanic strike, all across America. Like, what are they asking for? Better wages, better benefits, these kinds of things.
The problem with better wages
Do you think
is
it's a problem to pay people a healthy living wage?
I think the problem, this is the biggest problem, is inflation, right? Like we've gotten better wages now, I'm not saying $15 you can live on. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying
No, but
there
that's the
has
thing.
been an increase in wage when, shit, I think at one point, wasn't our minimum wage $8?
It's never, the federal minimum wage has not gone up in the past 30 years, 40, I would say. It's still it's like $8, $7.
Yeah. But,
Okay, but how, you need to understand, like, part of it is inflation.
right.
But there are other factors that fucking,
Go walk over there.
no, it's fucking, that fucking, it's fucking motion sensing lights.
There it is. You
Look,
got
there
it.
are so many factors at play,
Mhm.
and it's unfortunate that people who are really struggling are the ones who really see the effects of it. People who have wealth, right, is different from being rich. I mean, there are super rich people, and then there are super wealthy people.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Never
a 1%,
in the history,
and then
never-
there's the rest.
Okay, but never in the history of humans has there been this much of a wealth gap.
Mm.
Wages have been stagnant for the last 40 years, and you can check me on this. You can cross check me, double fact check me, whatever. It's real tough. Like, I've just become more aware of people who do make these working wages
Right.
and barely survive. And you think to yourself, okay, if you've got 2 hours, 3 hours to watch television, you have 2-3 hours to fucking do something to better your life.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I disagree with that. People forget that maybe you are been working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and really the only time you have to yourself is Sunday, because you spend Saturday with your daughter or your son or your wife, your beloved, and you don't have time for yourself, and you think to yourself, is this it?
Well, I think the goal is that,
Like, it's not about it being, it's not entitlement. It's not, don't call it entitlement. Like, I think, like, using that kind of language makes it feel like people are being lazy. Some people are lazy, but not everybody is like that. There are people who genuinely need help. I think I totally disagree when people say, oh, well, if you've got a couple hours to spare, that's good. But those couple hours, maybe you need to run some errands. It's gonna take 30 minutes to whatever. Maybe you live a little bit outside the city, or
Right.
or something. Like, those things take time. You come home, you still have to cook. Like, I don't know how fucking adults do it if they're living regularly.
well, this is also why the ultimate goal really is to have enough passive income to live freely, the way that you would like, right? Like, if you're not a cook, if you don't want to cook, you want to make enough money to the point where you can afford a private chef, And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's a click of your finger. It's nothing like that. But it's also, you have to put in the time. At the end of the day, I'm not going to disagree, or I'm just going to tell you, I am one of those people that I believe that if you have 3 to 4 hours to spare and you're watching TV during that time, then that's on you. We all have the same amount of time in a day. We really do. Whether you believe it or not, and
Yeah.
I get that there's a 9 to 5, or some people, but before the 9 to 5, before I believe it was the 1960s that Harrison Ford, or not the 1960s, might have been 1920, somewhere around there. Anyway, Harrison Ford introduced the 40-hour work week, right? The 9 to 5.
That,
but
I think-
before that, it was at least 60 to 70 hours that people would work.
Dude,
Then you have to take into account at the same time, right, is that, yeah, it sucks that you might only get one day out of your week where you can do things that you want to do, or work on your business, or whatever. But the main goal is that you get to a point where you do have something like a business that does well enough where you don't have to work a 9 to 5. And the only way to do that is through sacrifice. Like, truly, that is the reality of this age, is that without sacrifice, you will literally get nowhere.
No,
when you go to the
sacrifice-
gym, that's a sacrifice of an hour.
No, sacrifice has always been around. Jesus sacrificed himself for our sins. Look, I simply
this-
disagree.
that's fine.
But we've talked
No,
about
yeah.
this before.
I'll hear you out.
Because we've definitely disagreed on this topic before. Like, I'm not saying people are lazy, but it's become more obvious to me that, maybe you want those 3 hours,
Mhm.
2 hours you have left at night to be spent, putting in that hustle, that grind, to get whatever project or side hustle you got going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, there is a level of sacrifice. But to the people who don't find their path or their way out, there are obstacles sometimes in the way that we simply don't fully grasp because we don't have like a mental health system that addresses things that people genuinely go through. Like, some people have just this social anxiety. Some people are weirdos. Some people have some level of depression, whether it be seasonal or fucking, or, clinical or crippling.
I'm not laughing at what you're saying. I'm just laughing at your emotion.
Yeah, and so those things like affect. Now, people will say, well, it's not like everybody and those people, there is resources and stuff like that. Well, yeah.
I mean, essentially, yeah, but healthcare sucks.
Yeah.
And as someone who has dealt with mental health issues, I know how badly it sucks.
And so, yeah, and I would like to say that when it comes to that kind of health and well-being, I think government should play a role in there. Help give us a public option. Why are they so eager to give us a vaccine for free, right? Some of the biggest pharmaceutical companies hold the intellectual property rights to that vaccine. They don't just freely give it out to other countries, but they'll give it out to us for free, but not other countries who have the equipment to make it. And that's just it. Why are they so eager to give this to us for free? But when it comes to insulin, when it comes to the drugs maybe your mother needs for her autoimmune disease, like, why aren't those free if it literally keeps her alive?
Because
like
these pharmaceuticals are, first off, they're getting money from the government for every vaccine that they create or that they push out. Like, they're being paid. They're still making profit at the end of the day, and it's not even like they're breaking even. Like, they're making billions above breaking
even.
Like,
everybody's tuned out. Everybody's tuned out because they're so worried about just being able to get it. Nobody thinks about like the protections that certain officials that run healthcare companies that employ healthcare workers, right? They have protections if like there's any kind of malpractice when it comes to COVID. They're covered. They're not gonna get taken to court because these powers were put in place back then. So many people with insider knowledge use that information to make money during the pandemic, millions of dollars.
I mean, there's also, you sign a consent form.
Who's consenting?
You are if you're taking the vaccine. You literally sign a consent form. In pretty much the majority of things that you do that involve your body, whether it's physically or mentally, you sign a consent form that if this drug kills me, I can't sue type of shit.
There is a lot. Like
or if I jump out of a plane, right, that's my free choice.
Yeah.
If I jump out of a plane, I sign the consent form that if my chute doesn't pull, I die.
Look, now you're talking about freedom. Now you're talking about
I'm not just talking about freedom. I'm just talking about like you give consent when you sign that. So, yeah, they're protected. Of course, they're protected because you gave them consent. No. At the end of the day, I don't think it's a bad thing. I got the vaccine on my choice because I believe. Well, one, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a fucking young dude. I wanted to go out. I wanted to see my friends, and so I got the vaccine. And then on top of that, I have people in my family.
And what else did they tell you? They said if you get vaccinated, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to put a mask on.
I mean, yeah, but that ended so fast.
Why?
What?
Why would it end so fast? Like, why would they do that?
Because people were making fake vaccine cards, acting like this is real shit.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
The percentage is
I
so
literally
small.
know people who made fake vaccine cards and either sold them or bought them. Like, I actually know people.
Bro, hook me up because.
Or my age. I know you need it, but no.
Can I tell you real quick the story? What happened? Are you familiar with the Blind Barber?
No.
It's this bar right there next to the Best Buy. Me, Rick, and Jordy were walking up, and as we get to the front door, they're like, "Oh, we need to see proof of vaccination."
Oof.
I'm like, did I just get turned away?
Yeah.
I'm about to pull out my fucking.
Go get vaccinated.
Bro, can you believe?
It's not that hard.
It's not. But
What are you scared for?
it's not being. I'm not scared. I'm not hesitant either. If it's not necessary, I don't. They've yet to tell me. The government has yet to say, hey, we're gonna come knock on your door and make sure and check your fucking status.
Mm.
You know how they come and check the census?
Mm.
I bet you on the census is gonna ask you if you're vaccinated or not.
It should.
I have no idea.
I think it will
I don't think
actually.
It
Damn,
matters.
that's interesting.
Honestly,
I didn't think about that.
Well, look, if it's not necessary, this is what I keep saying. I'm not hesitant. I'm not scared of it. The science says it works. It helps keep you. Blah, blah, but what if, like, then what the fuck is the point if it helps you? It's like, okay, just stop. Okay, you want to jump out of a plane? Go ahead. Your chute doesn't open. I'm not gonna care because it didn't open. That it didn't open because you chose to go jump out. You want to drown yourself in alcohol? Go ahead. I don't even know you. I feel sorry for you, but you can choose to do that and walk into a liquor store and drown yourself in alcohol. You wanna, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know. I think that with becoming vaccinated, I think that it makes you feel more secure,
Powerful?
safer. Not powerful, because I don't go, bitch, I'm vaccinated, fuck out of here. Like, it's nothing like that. But it is more secure and safer. Like, if I'm around family and friends, I know that if one of them was to have COVID and it got to me, it's not going to affect me as bad as someone who is unvaccinated. And
did you hear about that guy from the Dallas NBA team? They asked him why he was vaccine hesitant, and he gave the most articulate answer ever, right? I'm going to paraphrase real quick. Basically said, I've had COVID already. I recovered, and
he's got the antibodies.
He says he's got the antibodies.
So the problem with that is, and I understand this because I know multiple people.
Because you have a degree.
I know multiple people that. No, I don't have a. Fuck no.
You should.
But I know multiple people that have told me that they got COVID and that they had the antibodies and that's the reason why they feel they shouldn't get vaccinated. The problem with that is the virus has now mutated. It is mutated. So the antibodies you once had are not going to affect you the same way.
They mutate along with. I have the Omega antibodies, dog. I got the Omega.
So you've already had COVID?
I believe so, because COVID is here.
Why don't you go get tested for it?
I don't believe in
the rapid test. I agree with you. I don't believe in the rapid test either. But let me ask you this:
I just haven't.
If I paid for you, check this out.
It should be free. Should be free. Don't pay.
No. Check this out. I'm not saying.
I need to check if I have the antibodies.
Can I speak? Can I speak?
Sorry, go.
Thank you. Fuck. If I paid for you to get the antibody test. Not the vaccine test,
not the
COVID antibody test.
Antibody.
And it shows up that you have never had COVID.
And that I've never had the antibodies?
That you've never had the antibodies. Would you still feel as safe as you do?
Yes. Nothing would change. Let me tell you why. Because I've made it this far. And I'll be honest, I was paranoid in the beginning when this all shit started. Because
I should be.
I was paranoid because I
should
knew
still be
the
paranoid.
day would come when I would start to disagree with my buddies about something that I once thought was a logical way of looking at things. Like,
you thought you were going to lose friends over this.
Dude, I thought, no, I was not just lose friends. I was getting ready to have to fucking defend myself because I'm like, yo, guys, like, what fucking reality do we live in where we take everything the government says as gospel and never have to double check? Never double check our sources. Just listen to what the noticiero says, the Newsmax.
Right.
Like, dude, like people, you'll use these anecdotes and like quick buzzwords and like these sayings they hear and they'll say, oh, but the virus is mutated. I'm going to punch a fucking wall, dude. I swear.
The virus can mutate. Though.
No,
this
that's
is
what it's
science.
true. No, okay, that is truth. But the truth.
The virus did mutate. It's not even it can. It did.
Basic virology tells us that it does mutate over time.
No, it's already mutated. Why do you think children need to get the vaccine at this point?
No, stop. See, you're doing this. Oh my God, it's happening. Oh my God, dude. Look, we need to be careful because we need to be careful. Okay. Because what you're saying is I have no knowledge of. If they're saying that children,
I'm not saying you have no knowledge of it. I'm just telling you.
No, because I don't know the thing about the children. Because I think children are gonna grow up. This generation. I'm sorry. I don't think they need to be wearing masks. I don't think there's no evidence to suggest that children are at risk like elderly people are, or or you'd say, oh well, now it's getting 20-year-olds, now it's getting teens. Like,
yeah, health issues play a part in it for sure, but also maybe you don't even know you have the health issue until it's too late.
That's
when was it? First off, when was the last time you went for a physical?
I've never gone for a physical.
Then shut the fuck up.
Maybe I have, but I don't remember.
You would remember.
Well,
they touch your nuts. You don't remember that?
Why are they touching your nuts?
They have to.
Why?
Sperm count. They have to make sure that you have healthy balls.
They check your sperm count.
No, it's not. They check your sperm count, but they have to make sure that you have healthy balls.
No,
and
you didn't go to a doctor, bro.
Sorry,
you went to the wrong doctor.
He just wanted to feel my nuts.
Yeah, he just wanted to feel your nuts.
No, look, they check these things because of the fact they have to make sure that you are a healthy individual and that you like if you don't have basically they check for testicular cancer. That's really what it is.
I mean, they can show me how to do it and I'll do it myself. I'll just YouTube it.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it yourself, but
I'm doing it right now.
The thing is, you may, because there's a part of our ball sack that is like hard and it feels like lumpy, and you think it's like a cancer, but it's not. And so you may diagnose yourself wrong. Then what happens? Then you're gonna feel stupid.
Then I'll fucking snap my nuts off. Look, I am worried about my health. Like, genuinely speaking, like, as a conscious, aware human young adult, I am concerned for my health. Mm-hmm. You're not wrong.
But you feel like you're doing everything that you can in order to maintain your health and to feel like a healthy adult, essentially.
No, because I don't know what everything about being healthy means.
No, everything that you know at this current moment, feel like you're doing.
Like, I think one of the most important things about our health is sleep.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Like, literally, like, it's the time where your body recovers and regenerates itself. Sleep is the biggest part about our health. If you've got a bad sleep, you should probably go to a doctor. But I'm not a doctor, so don't take my fucking advice. If you're not sleeping, that's on you, stupid ass.
I mean, look, it's also that it's not just going to a doctor. You really just need to psychoanalyze yourself if you're not sleeping well, because
don't psychoanalyze yourself. You're not a fucking
doctor. Sorry, don't psychoanalyze, but analyze yourself if you're not sleeping well, because you have to think about, like, why am I not sleeping well? Am I stressing too much? Am I thinking about too many things? You really should look into it, because, like he said, sleep is essential. And this is a guy who sometimes goes to bed at 2 or 3 at night, and even he's telling you that when he wakes up after not getting enough sleep, his whole day is off. Would you agree?
It's absolutely true. Yeah, like there's so many things that affect you if you're like an hour short of sleep.
Yep.
So many things. I only know this because, and I'm sure of it because I enjoy listening to neurobiologists talk about sleep. Sleep doctors talk about it. I mean, you're asking me. I fucking love technology, right? Because, like, before, how the fuck would I go to a fucking college in the middle of the country to listen to a professor talk about sleep? How? Well, I'll tell you how.
Wealth.
No, the power of the internet, YouTube. Like, everybody.
No, now you can. You said before.
Oh yeah.
Before you needed wealth.
Yeah, but now the information age has become so accessible to everybody. We now bear the burden of information. That's just
there is, but I agree with you, but I also think it's a I think it's kind of bad at the same time, and because you can have anyone that is like, oh, I have this knowledge and I'm going to tell you about this, and sometimes they're just theorizing. You know what I mean? And like, everyone can have a different point of view, and people just tend to talk about it. Like, I watch a couple, because I'm a big fan of the Las Vegas Raiders, and I watch a couple of people that give their opinions on the team and what they need and all of that, and you can just see everybody thinks very differently. And don't get me wrong, there are facts behind it, but also at the same time, you just come up with your own conclusion at the end of the day. So when you're watching these professors, you might disagree or agree, even if it is factual. Like, in your mind, you might just be like, nah, that doesn't make sense to me. And if you're not willing to look it up afterwards, then you're just going to kind of stay in that mindset. Yeah. But it is nice to have the abundance of knowledge through
Sunday
technology.
Went?
I'm sorry?
Can I ask you how Sunday went? I wanted to talk about Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love going. I remember once I went back, like, this was pre-pandemic. There was a PP. You know how they say BC, BCE, AD? This
Right.
is PP, pre-pandemic, when things were before the Fire Nation attacked.
Go home, bro.
Fucking yeah, I used to fucking love going to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, not Universal Studios itself, because I'm a big fan of horror, scary movies, and that shit was awesome. I loved going. One of my favorite attractions was the House of a Thousand Corpses at the time. There was a bunch of
Rob
other
Zombie.
good ones. Yeah, there was a bunch of other good ones they did. That was the reason I kept going back. After that, I started not liking it anymore. The mazes started getting a little bit more whack. And I went recently on Friday.
Yeah.
Before you went on Sunday.
Yeah.
And fucking, I hated it. It was bad because I spent more time in line than I did in the mazes, and the mazes themselves were not like I remembered them.
Yeah.
Because they were so short, because there were so many people that they had to get through every fucking body.
Right.
Right. Another thing too that threw me off is like the scare actors were wearing masks. Like masks, not actual fucking masks. I mean, they were wearing both, and so it kind of threw the immersion off in some of the mazes. Like the Bride of Frankenstein, the bride was wearing a mask the whole time.
I don't think that was that bad though, because that to me actually made me think more of the story of Frankenstein. Yeah, like she's a doctor, you know what I mean? Like how Frankenstein was created. Like you could see him wearing a mask while he was creating Frankenstein. So that one didn't really affect me.
Cool. I didn't fucking.
I thought the Bride of Frankenstein was one of the best.
But because you went to the first one, that was the first one you went to. No,
negative.
What? Which one did you go to?
The first one I went to was the Terror Tram.
Okay.
So for everyone, first things first, he's right. Horror Nights sucks now. It's not because of...
No, it's because of the pandemic.
It's one, because of the pandemic, but it's also two, because of social media, because of TikTok and how much TikTok blew up Halloween Horror Nights, the same way that Not Scary Farm sells out now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, these places have gone so viral, and this is really anywhere that's an attraction or an event that's happening. And this is why TikTok is so powerful, because if you are able to create an event and make a viral TikTok, when I tell you the cash flow that will come into that business, wow. So anyways, yeah, because I went on a Sunday, and a Sunday for Horror Nights, it's not supposed to be bad, like whatsoever, but this was beyond sold out. And you knew it was bad because at every single maze, there was a upgrade package that you could buy at every single maze, because they knew that it was going to be so bad that people would be willing to, instead of waiting in the line for 2 hours, usually about 120 minutes, that was pretty much...
every maze?
Every maze, yeah.
Except the first and the tram.
Yeah, except the first and the tram, and even then that was probably about an hour or maybe 45 minutes, 45 to an hour, somewhere around there.
That included waiting, because it was pretty short, huh? The tram?
Oh, dude, I was actually so annoyed because we used to, when we were younger and we would go on that tram, like, it was not only scary, but there was so many people on the tram, and like the actors wise, right? So like you felt bombarded essentially.
Yeah, it's obvious
as soon
that
as you got
short-staffed.
off.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Yeah, very obvious that they were short staffed. It's really a shame because
can't scare everybody.
One, you can't scare everyone, but two, at the same time, like I feel like they were also short staffed because of the pandemic and how they needed people to be 6 feet apart as well. How wild is that?
Well, I couldn't. Every time I wanted to take my mask down just to breathe, even though we were outside, someone immediately was like, "Mask, mask, mask."
Yeah,
and we couldn't even. It was just look.
It was tough, but if you do go to Horror Nights, get the Universal Express Pass for sure. Go Fast Pass.
It's fucking bullshit, dog. Let me tell you why.
Because it's expensive, but it's going to be worth it.
Don't let people go to a fucking soccer game, a football game, and not give a fuck about whether or not you're wearing your mask. But we go to a fucking theme park like this, and it's so stringent, and like it's still bending over backwards.
Did I got you?
Like,
I thought that was Obama.
Like, I'm complaining not because of the masks thing, but because it's like, like we're trying to protect people from each other, but we're all stacked on top
Yeah,
of each
we're all
other,
like
going into a
sardines.
fucking
Yeah.
elevator, escalator. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, don't give me that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me that. Don't give me that Bammer weed.
So, what was your favorite at Universal Horror Nights?
The Bride.
Just the Bride of Frankenstein.
Because that maze has been there forever and they've perfected it. Like it feels like a good maze.
Yeah.
They've had story. The other ones felt like they put them together
And
last minute.
how many? Because you said you were waiting. I ended up getting a fast pass, so I was.
You ended up getting a fast pass?
I was in and out of the park within
I hate
3.5
you.
hours. I went through everything.
Oh no!
Everything.
Oh.
Shout out to my boy Isaiah. He was working at the Exorcist, and unfortunately, when I went through, he was on break. So we met up afterwards and took a little video. Just that I went to go visit him.
I don't care. Don't
But the
shill
Exorcist
him.
was really good too. But man, when I tell
you
you,
had a way better experience than
I had an amazing time. I did. Besides the fact that the mask sucked for sure, and being stacked like sardines, and their logic behind that, and then the other thing that sucked too, and I was about to fight this motherfucker. Like I was like, what the fuck? But I also realized I'm too old to be all that, angry about some dude's comment. But as we're going into the Dufftober, you know what I'm talking about, the next to Moe's Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
As we're going in there for drinks, me and my lady, this gentleman is giving out wristbands, and he looks at my wrist and he's like, damn, you got some small ass wrist, homie. And I was like, oh yeah, man, it is what it is. It's genetics. And then he looks at my girl and he's putting hers on, and he's like, I got bigger wrists than this guy. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, you trying to show me up? Like, you'll really get smacked up,
Was he
bro.
Mexican?
Yeah, he was.
Damn Mexicans.
I don't know. I was just like, that's just disrespectful, because I was just like, you know what, bro? Look, you're doing your job. I ain't gonna sweat it, but like,
Don't fucking talk to me.
yeah, like don't put me down, especially
in front of my girl, dog.
in front of my lady. Like that's
In front
just
of my lady?
disrespectful, bro.
I love how you say that. In front of my lady.
In front of my lady,
front of my
disrespectful as shit.
In front of my hyena, dog.
But then on top of that too, I was like, this kid is like 18, 19 tops. Like he thinks he's the shit. He doesn't know anything about life yet. Like, and he works at a theme
Shut
park.
your ass
You know
up,
what I'm saying?
fucking-
And I'm not saying theme park
Nick
is
sold
a
his
bad.
Ferrari to travel the world.
I'm not saying theme park is a bad job at all.
No,
but
but I feel
I'm just
bad
like,
for
you're
them.
clearly angry about something, or I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to show me up, and
No,
in his mind, maybe he was thinking that I don't know, that he thought it was okay. But look, the thing is, if you live in LA and you know like what it's like in LA, you know that you don't just talk to people like that. Like,
okay, stop.
you will get smacked for shit like that.
I was gonna say, yeah, I feel bad for the people working at the theme park, because it's obvious to me that they're understaffed, underpaid, and people at a theme park just don't give a fuck.
But isn't it fair to say that could be literally any job? And
Bro,
at that point,
that's real life Squid Game. You don't know what those people are going through, bro. Like, gotta be kind to them.
this is where we always have a difference, because
You don't like
I
being kind to
truly
people?
do believe that if you don't enjoy your job, leave your job. Really, you will figure it out. Or if you don't enjoy your job, save up your money to be able to leave your job.
Man, like, there's part of that is true. Like,
That
you
not
should
even
make a
part of it.
plan.
You make a fucking plan and you move on. That's how people do it
That's
in real life. The people that
That
are
wanna
fucking
survive, yeah.
psycho and just leave a state and go live in another state with no planning, like, yeah, they figure it out. At the end of the day, you always figure it out. But they put so much more stress on them than someone who has literally created a plan and has a direction that they want to go in. And it makes it a lot easier too, because as time pushes on and you get closer to your goal, you become not only happier, but you're like, damn, I actually completed this milestone in my life.
I feel what you're saying. This result, the
Also,
gratification.
fuck that kid from the theme park. That shit got me
fuck
so
him.
angry.
No,
Anyways.
the gratification. Yeah, you want. I see what you're saying. Like, people should.
Like, I got you. Boom.
You don't.
Oh, I don't got
it's
the
fine,
touch,
you can leave
dude.
it.
You got to get up.
I'll get up right now. I have to pee again. Yeah, no, it's just like you have to. If you work towards something and you you reach that milestone and you feel this gratification. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it's why you create a budget. It's literally why you create a budget. So
Just
that
eat one meal a day.
no, fuck no.
Why not?
One meal a day is not going to cut it. You're going to end up looking like me.
Okay, then don't fucking eat if you're gonna save
These are
money.
genetics, but if you eat one meal a day, you're going to end up looking like me.
But
I promise you.
You know, my buddy was like, "Oh, you know, I was working this job, working 12 hours," and I said, "Okay, but don't you want to live here?" He's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "What do you mean? It's too expensive to live here."
I agree, 100%.
But he's like, "Well, you have to bust your ass off if you want to live here."
It's 100% true.
But then he started complaining about working 12-hour days sometimes. I'm like, "So you're going to complain about busting your ass off and say it's also too expensive to live here?" Like, that's the point I was trying to make. It's like, it sucks when you work and you want to have a home, like in a place where it's $1 million home.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how, as a young person, what if I wanted to buy a home, start a family? You know, what if I wanted to go that direction? Why can't I have a more this idea of upward mobility? Like, why is there not not easier, but like a more defined path? Like,
I mean, there is. It's just.
well, I don't think it's necessarily defined because
the problem is that
it's expensive.
So this is the problem, right? Is that there is, but it's also, if you've never left Los Angeles, and I'm not talking about like gone on vacation, I'm talking about like actually lived somewhere else, myself included, then you don't know what else is out there. But what we do is we settle for what is here, right? Like, people that live in Studio City, they got it right. I'm not even going to lie to you. That shit is so smart.
No, dude.
It's outside of LA.
No,
it's barely outside of LA. And the rent over there is so much cheaper than what you pay here. And you get even better quality out there.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? It's not just Los Angeles, though. If you really want to live, look, there's 3 values when it comes to location, right? You always want to have something that you need. If you're a beach person, then you need a beach. Great. Look for a beach place. Now you're looking for a beach place, right? You need a city. Great. Look for a city. You have to put your values together and factor in your budget, because at the end of the day, if you do not have that budget, you will not be able to live in that area. And that's a fact.
Bro, you have to understand how damn expensive it is, dog. You need a minimum of $1 million
to live here.
Anywhere in the moment.
I wouldn't say anywhere. No. Not
in
chance.
the United States, whether it be on the West or the East Coast. What are you going to do? Live in the middle? You're going to live in Ohio?
No. You know what you can buy in Texas for $500,000?
You want to go live in Texas?
I would go live in Texas for $500,000 to have a beautiful ass house. Hell yeah, I would.
Okay, but what?
100%.
No, but that's not.
And what am I going to find in Texas? Or is that what you're about to ask me?
No, that's the idea. It's like, bro, why do you have to leave the state?
Because you should leave the state.
No, I don't agree with that. You could. I think that's great. Like,
where would you like to live? You want to live in Mexico, right?
No, I'd like to live here in Los Angeles. I like Los Angeles.
Why do you like Los Angeles?
I grew up here, and
you grew up here, right?
Yeah.
So you've never left, right?
I have left.
No.
Well, you're saying
I'm
left
saying
as
non-vacation.
Else?
Yeah.
Where else? Where?
This is my point.
No. You have to be specific, because if it's anywhere else in the U.S., it doesn't count.
Why?
Because, bro, you can get everything you need in anywhere else in the U.S.
Then why do you need to live in Los Angeles? That's my point.
Because I like Los Angeles. I like the idea of living.
Then you like it. Then like you said, then don't complain like your friend for how expensive it is, how hard you have to work.
No,
if you know what you need to do to live here, then there's no reason to complain.
No, I am complaining about why it's so expensive, because that's the issue. It shouldn't be so expensive.
Why?
Why? Well, because
why do you get to determine that? Is my point.
No, I don't get to determine what price we pay for the rent.
So why do you think that
it's too expensive?
Yeah,
I think it's too expensive because we live in one of the wealthiest cities in the world. And when there is such a huge gap between the wealthy and the poor, there is something going on. If your wages can barely help you afford your apartment that you rent, let alone you have a family, that means you're barely making it.
But that's a choice, right?
It's not a choice, because wages have been, because if you don't have more education than high school or college, like is a certain level of like.
But that's a choice.
That's not a choice. Some people don't have that choice to go to college.
But you can get that choice, so that's a choice.
How?
That's what FAFSA is for.
No, but some people who don't apply, who don't qualify for that, how do those
Such
people
as
do
who?
it?
The illegal immigrants?
You don't have to be an illegal immigrant. You can be a. You can
So
be
who
a
doesn't
regular,
qualify for FAFSA?
people who technically make too much money.
Exactly. So it's their choice if they don't want to go to college, if they don't want to pursue that.
And it's not their choice. It's
That
just
is
that maybe
their
they don't have
choice.
time because.
What do you mean?
How do you make time when you work full time?
You go to college and you figure it out. People do it all the time.
Right,
People
they
are
do do it.
full-time students and they go to college
They do
full
it all the
time.
time, but sometimes
Maybe you just think that you're not capable of doing it. I think this for me
But what
is
causes you to
the
think
hardest.
what causes you to think that you aren't capable? A lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things, but this is my problem with
Because it's
this whole
so
generation, myself included, right? Is that
Okay.
we believe that everything should be so easy, like we really do, and
Well, yeah,
because we
yeah.
want instant gratification. We don't want to have to go through 4 years of school. Like I read this tweet the other day, and it's really the realest shit, and I pretty much need to see it, but it said that kids out here are 25, 26, 27, 28, whatever, right? And they're like, damn, if I do 4 years of school, when I'm out, I'm going to be 32. You will still be 32 in 4 years. It'll just matter where are you now in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have a college degree now, or are you running a business? What are you doing? You will still be 34. You will still be 32. You will still be 30. You'll still be 28, 26, whatever it is. You will still be that. At the end of the day, what will you have to show for it, though?
Again, I don't disagree that if someone has the time
Mm-hmm.
to go to college and
Mhm.
pursue an educational career,
Mm-hmm.
it's a matter of like, okay, if you decide to make that sacrifice, right?
Mhm.
Because sure, it sounds easy when you say it to say, okay, yeah, I'll just make time for it. I'll sacrifice my Saturdays just for school.
School is easy. School is really easy.
Look,
it's just
I'm telling
you
you
have to
that-
stay on top of it, and you have
Well,
to make a sacrifice.
Making it sound easier than it is the easiest
Look,
thing anyone
let me
can
tell
do.
you something. You want to work full time and you want to go to school full time. You can do it. You just can't have a life. And if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that, because later on in life, maybe you'll have a better life to show for it. But if you're not willing to make that sacrifice, right? Myself included. Like I'm going to be honest with you. School is not for me. I know that. I don't want to do school, and I understand that.
Mhm.
I understand that in 4 years I will be 29. I'll be 29 years old, and maybe I'll have some type of degree to my name. Maybe I won't. But I understand at the same time, I will be 29, and I will know the choice that I made to not go to school. And at that moment, maybe it'll be a great choice, or maybe it won't. But it is our choice at the end of the day, because this sitting here for an hour doing this,
Mhm.
I really enjoyed this. This is like a hobby for me.
Yeah.
But this is also something that I sacrifice an hour of my day of,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if I was working full time
Yes.
and we still had to do this,
Yes.
if I really want it that bad, I will make it happen.
You know what? Look, there's something there, because I don't totally disagree with you. I do agree, bro. Like, those who want it will go and do it. And yeah, like if you make there's like a level of a plan. Like the biggest counterpoint to that would be like if you lived in North Korea,
Hmm.
how do you like better your life if your whole life is controlled by the government? Or like,
But that's a very rare case.
no, it's not very rare.
Yeah, it is.
It happens
North
all
Korea-
over the
well,
world. Like,
yes, but like what we know of North Korea is very rare, and
No, they
it's
know.
a privilege for us. The fact that we will, at this current moment, I don't think we'll ever have to go through that. Government gives us so much help. They may not help us on literally everything, but they really do give us so much help that for the people that need it and are willing to take advantage of it, they do. The same way that, when you went to school, you were willing to take advantage of the resources that you had,
of
right?
course, yeah.
That's what you need to do. If you have the resources, take advantage of it. So when you tell me that people can't go to school because of circumstances, that's bullshit, bro. That's really bullshit. Like 40-year-old parents are going back to school. I knew a fucking 76-year-old in my English 2 class because he didn't finish his education and he wanted to. You
He's
know what
too
I'm
old.
saying? Like
That's too old.
It's
just
not
give up.
though.
No,
It's
it's too late,
never
bro.
too late.
It's too
The
late.
saying of "it's never too late" is
No,
reality.
there are some things where it's too late. There are some things where it's too late.
I mean, when you have responsibilities in your
Yeah.
life that hold you back, but if you don't have responsibilities in your life,
No, I
then
think-
at the end of the day, you are really just being lazy.
No, Nick, yeah, I think we should make it clear. I will make it clear that, yeah, there are some things where it'll just be too late. It'll just be too late. And that is just that. And I hold myself to that as much as I can, because as I get older, there are things that I want, and I try my best to aim in a noble direction.
Mm.
And instead of giving up, I just adjust my aim, right? So I do agree with you, man. Like, there are those who have the time and energy to do it,
Mhm.
and maybe just choose not to. That's absolutely fine, because that's the beauty of living here. You have a choice. If those people are, want more, but they have obstacles like family, relationships, work, right? Those things are real, because
Yeah, but
listen for a second.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
real because maybe you're working hard enough to support your family,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe you don't spend enough time with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore,
It's a cause and effect.
Therefore, you don't spend enough time on yourself. One of the, in my opinion, if these things are not in balance, there's another one, and it includes your community. Like, if you aren't just aware of yourself and the community you play, whether that be your coworkers, your friends,
Right.
they should be in balance, right? So let's say you decide to take an extra day off work so you can spend more time with family, and then in turn you have enough time to spend time for yourself, and then because you have enough time to spend on yourself, you're like, you know what, let me go ahead and make sure that the people that I surround myself with are also in good condition. And if one of those falters, it could lead to some kind of stress or anxiety. This is just my opinion. I think
This is your values though.
but people
You're speaking on values. That's what you're speaking on, right?
no, it's part
No, that is.
No, because I said
Family isn't a value for everyone.
No, obstacles. Like, sometimes you need. Okay, if you're telling me that maybe not everybody needs to keep up with their family, fine. But I'm a big believer now. I used to think
Yeah,
differently.
this is your value.
It's not. It's yeah.
It
there
is
a
your value.
There is a value. in
Not
that.
everybody believes that they need to keep up with family.
No,
I
but that
know
family-
people
okay,
in
but
my
you're
family who don't believe
You're
that.
assuming that family has to do with your cousin and stuff. What if you
No,
have
I'm
children?
not. I'm not talking about.
No,
I'm
but-
talking about mothers. I'm talking about the entire family.
Okay, but listen. If you have children,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a daughter or
Mhm,
a son, how
mhm.
you have to keep up with them.
You don't.
Okay, I disagree with that. You're not just.
That's fine. That's your value.
No, but it's not just that. It's you have to. You're working full time, and you have a son. Let's say you're a single parent.
Mhm.
I think you're underestimating how much time it takes to take care of a person.
I think you're underestimating what I'm saying.
No.
I'm saying
misunderstanding
that.
what you're saying. I'm
Yeah.
not underestimating it.
Well, I'm saying that you choose to have a child. I'm not saying that. Look, I know unforeseen circumstances, but you do choose to take care of that kid. You can definitely go take that kid to a shelter. That's a choice, buddy.
Okay.
That's a value that you
give
have
it
to
up-
have
to give
if
it
you
up
want
for
to.
adoption.
If you want to, no, not just adoption.
No, that's
The
what
kid's
you're
already
doing.
born. No. I'm
Then-
talking about the kid's already born.
Okay, why not just kill it?
Why would you do that?
You're allowed to.
You are allowed to, but why would you do that?
Well, why not? Why give it up?
Because death is a value that
Okay, so
that
you don't.
believe in.
So if
I'm saying if your kid is growing up and you've had enough of your kid, you can technically put them in foster care.
Okay, so now you're saying that they have to be a certain age for you to get rid of them.
I'm not saying they have to be a certain age. I'm just saying in general you can do it.
Okay, sure, you could, but I don't agree with that.
That's fine. That's your
Yeah.
value, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me that there's obstacles, but there's ways to get around those obstacles. You might not be the most moral human if you ever did that. You're probably a piece
Okay.
of shit.
Okay.
I understand
Okay.
that. But that is a
see.
choice
Yes.
at the end of the day.
Yes,
It really
you-
is. That's not an obstacle.
what?
That's an obstacle you can fix.
Okay.
Like that.
It may not necessarily. Okay, maybe it's not necessarily fixing it, because maybe it is unhealthy if you
Why?
Well, I mean, you're giving up your child, and
Okay.
if
So your life becomes better.
I mean, so that you don't so that you have more time, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so you agree with me that it's an obstacle if you're working full time and you have a child. You need to find.
But you're saying that these obstacles are holding you back, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
And-
because you just said that if you can just give up one of them to go around it, fine. But what I'm saying is sometimes these obstacles get in the way of people doing things because...
But I'm saying that there's a solution to the obstacle.
Yeah, okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so not work.
What do you mean not work?
Give up. Okay, as I said, work. Your job is one of them.
If you've planned well enough, then yes, you won't need to work.
Okay, so you could quit your job and just take care of your kid, right? So you don't have to give up your kid.
If you've planned well enough,
and
yes.
instead of giving up, okay, sure, you could do all those things. You could.
I think a lot of this goes into planning. Like if you understand your values and like, let me put it this way, my roommate, right? This is not even paraphrasing, word for word, what he said. He said, I don't need anything in life. All I need is internet, and I can live in the jungle. And I'm fine with that. Sure. He said, I don't need to talk to people anymore. I don't even need to see my family anymore.
Cool.
And to me, I was like hurt. I was like, damn, like what the fuck? But I also understand what he's saying because that is what he values. For me and you, right, I would say that I value my roommate. I really do. So I would want him in my life.
Okay.
But if
because
that is not my value, the way that, it is for him, that he needs one thing and that's all he needs, then he can live a happy life. Okay. And he's fine with that.
Okay.
What's the problem with that is what I'm saying.
You know what? This is something I think about all the time.
This is a moral thing, right?
I think about
like it really is.
Because I know somebody who lives on the streets and they choose to live like that.
Interesting.
Right? They have help.
Yeah.
They have people to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
He comes by anytime they need money. No big deal because they choose to live like that. You know what, Nick? There's that kind of moral dilemma I think about all the time. Like there are people I want to help or like I'm close to and I say, hey, maybe you should not do that.
Right.
But maybe you're right. Maybe it's not my place. Maybe it's none of my business to say, hey, maybe you should change that choice. But this is where I think you can draw the line. Like, if you were overweight, if I said, hey, man, like, I think you should lose a couple pounds. I think you should start exercising a little more. Right. You might be offended because you think to yourself, well, hey, I'm like happy the way I am right now. Like, I'm not like, there's a reason I don't exercise and it's because I don't want to. Right? You're like, it's a choice.
I mean, essentially, yeah.
But I'm telling you, I'm like, hey, man, like, please take the time, to exercise, maybe lose some weight because I'm concerned for your health. I'm no expert, whatever.
Is my value health?
Now, I'm telling you.
Not your value, is my value
But
health.
you said like the way you explained about you valuing your roommate, I value my friend who I think needs to change their a little bit.
Yeah.
Because maybe I don't have to convince you to change your values if like you don't care about your health.
Right.
But I think it is important. You're absolutely right. Someone can make the choice, right? Like 1,000-pound man. Right. That's a choice. You know, you don't just catch 1,000 pounds. Shout out to Patrice O'Neill. But there are people like that, right? Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Like people just choose to eat, over consume. But some people have issues with their thyroid. They have mental issues. I think you maybe said this or something, or someone may have said this. But you're right. The choice is there, but some people don't have a choice. And I just wanted to speak on that, the people who don't have the choice. But as a friend, if I tell you, please lose some weight, I guess that's where I draw the line. Like if I know you well enough and I say, hey man, like, you're making this decision to use heroin. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I think you're perfectly allowed to use heroin. It's illegal under the federal government, but if you know what you're doing, you're using a clean needle, and you know where you get your drugs from, okay, go ahead, use. Yeah. Also, like that value of like, okay, well,
I think it all falls on values. Truly.
I'm like, I don't want to.
Like it's.
I don't speak English well enough because we could define value, right? We could define it and then go on from there. But man, like it just feels like we'd be talking about it for a long time. But you know, it just kind of go back to what we spoke about earlier, like in Squid Game. All those people in the beginning were exposed to be like either bad people, down on their luck, super in debt, or just people who were taking advantage of others, right? Right. For their gratitude, like his mom, Ki Young, dude, literally stole her credit card even after he gave him money
Mhm.
for his
Mhm.
daughter,
Mhm.
her granddaughter.
And what was the value there?
It was to show you he valued money more.
Exactly.
Right.
This is what I'm saying though. Like this is where it becomes a moral thing, right? Is because
And look
this is
what happened
where
in the
it's
end. What
this-
happened in the end?
Yeah.
He didn't value it because it didn't matter after everything he had been through.
Exactly.
So
This is also why your values are able to change, and that's what I'm saying. Like with the
do
big
people change
big
or do
man
values
thing.
change? Because that's what I think I was
I
trying
think
to get
values change.
at. Because I think people can change. Some people take longer to change. Because
I think values change.
Because I think maybe your values could change easily.
Yeah.
Maybe too easily.
Yeah.
But for people to change, I think it's harder because someone could immediately start to believe in God and be like someone who's like a prophet, who feels like they're a prophet.
Yep.
And their value is like everything about their religion, Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism. But they're still the same like lying, hypocritical person that takes advantage of people and is using the value and religion to make himself feel better about the way he treats others.
Mhm.
Like if I'm doing,
That's a moral thing, though.
or maybe they're naive because this person just is doing things that are as good at, they're like, oh, all these good intentions, like I'm always praying for you, but the moment that I ask you for a favor, like you're just gonna like not help me out. And it's like, well, no, because in the past you've shown me that you're not a good person and I'm not gonna help you out. Even now, if you're telling me, you're a God, you're like God's child or whatever, like.
But to me, it sounds like you value actions at that point,
I
right?
think,
Like,
right. I think that
like
there's
not only loyalty, but actions. Like, show me that you're willing to guide me the same way I'm willing to guide you.
Yeah, because like I'm pretty forgiving to people I don't know, but if I know you, and that's even hard to say because you really like when you barely know yourself and you like know someone, like how well do you really know them?
Mm-hmm.
And that's me thinking like critically about it because
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what Squid Game was saying with Song Woo, like how he was, top of his.
He
seemed like he was
to be
just
the best in his
amazing
neighborhood,
guy, all that,
and he really wasn't. Like it was this
Exactly.
facade that he was this rich, successful, college educated person who ended up being someone who like couldn't live up to his expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like kind of something you mentioned earlier. It's like, was it that like, people's expectations of you, like that you don't live up to, you failed to meet them and you feel like you aren't capable of, you feel like you aren't good enough.
Yeah. It's a really big thing that I think we all go through, but I would say that the people that go through it the most are second generation children whose parents have emigrated from somewhere else, because you have this child that knows only what they have been shown, but they've never lived the life that their parent did and what their parent was willing to sacrifice to come here.
Yeah,
there's a lot of pressure that goes into that, which is something that's a really big
that right there is that third family obstacle. But I like obviously we've kind of defined value, and we're like we think people's actions define them. Well, like me saying that maybe more actions rather than speaking, like show, don't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's so weird because like as we get older, you and I, we're like our ways of thinking will slowly change. Like the way we critically think, and like the way we can respectfully agree and disagree. And like recently, I've been when people talk to me about something, if I'm wrong, I immediately will apologize and understand what I did was wrong, and I'll try to be honest as I can, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shows because people are really thrown off, I think, nowadays with subtle honesty.
Yeah,
like being just subtly honest about something can go a long way when you're with new people. I don't know. It's just how I.
In my opinion, it's because of the fact that having a conversation nowadays where you're able to go back and forth and try to, I would say like you don't always need to come to a conclusion, but more of an understanding of why someone thinks the way that they think.
I like that.
But this, I mean, I wouldn't even say like new generation, but it does seem to be mainly the new generation.
It's this impulsive reaction.
Exactly. And it's like, if you don't agree with me, then I can't have you in my life type of thing.
I can't even speak to you.
I can't even speak to you. I can't
even,
look at you.
Just don't even try and convince me, because you are just attacking my character, my values, everything I stand for.
Yep.
Like, I am so weak that I can't handle criticism, you know?
Yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
It's crazy.
So weird. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, basically that's like what's going on. Guys,
thank you for listening. You know, we hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I really enjoyed this episode. We always learn something about ourselves whenever we talk with each other. You know, David he's my devil's advocate, and he makes me I would say, I think he makes me think a lot better. I've even had family members that once looked at me like, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the black sheep of the family, but kind of like I was the black sheep of the family. But they've told me, legitimately, they have told me that I have matured and that I have a much better way of handling things now than I ever have done.
I think they can see the outline of your fat cock. They're like, yeah, he's matured.
What's going there? But sure.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way.
Take it away.
Nick. No, I was going to say I feel the same way, Nick. Like, I think it's important that people have... like, this is how they invented the Constitution. Motherfuckers sat at a table,
had a debate,
drinking beer, had a debate. We're like, hey, we need to figure this shit out. The Declaration of Independence, same shit. Like, we got to sit down and figure this shit out right, so that when we follow through with it, we don't fucking think twice about it.
What's funny is kind of, I'm done here, but like a first date, you know, you're basically creating a constitution of the relationship and how it's going to go going forward.
It's going to be amended many times.
Oh, for sure it will be. But I'm just saying, you know, if you think about the concept, like your first date, more than likely you end up going out somewhere to eat. You're talking about what you're into, what you want out of, you know, a relationship. Because at this age, we're not trying to play games anymore. Like,
I try not to. Yeah.
I'm not
trying to play no Squid games.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I'm here for what I'm here for, and whether or not you agree or disagree. At the end of the day, if you've ever gone on a first date, you're going to be scared as hell. You're going to be nervous, you know, but everybody goes through it. And look, at the end of the day, you're not going to be compatible with everyone, and you just have to accept that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because
there is.
You will now. Why?
You got to be all inclusive. LGBTQ plus A.
Peace out, guys.
Yeah, peace.